Hey guys, what is going on? I want to welcome you back to the channel. Well, it's a little too chilly today to go to the range, so I thought maybe we would take the 1935 Tula Hex Mosin Nagant, just take it apart for a quick little field strip and cleaning and so on. If you've never purchased one of these rifles before, you definitely need to jump on there and get one quickly. I've noticed that Classic Firearms is selling some turn-in models, which are basically non-arsenal refinished Mosin Nagants, 9130s, I believe, for $179.99, which is not a bad price. I know if you look around at the pawn shops and if you check out the gun shops and so on, you can get some really good deals on them. But right now, if you're going for like a hand select or a Dragoon era or a Hex, you're looking in around the $250 range. So the prices on these are not going down. I actually did a little video on the Mosin Nagant as an investment piece. And just like a lot of your surplus rifles, once the supplies start to dry up a little bit, once demand starts to kick in popularity, these really start to take off. So what we have here, guys, again, is a 1935 Tula Hex receiver. I bought this from Cabela's. I think I paid 125 bucks for it or something like that. I got a really good deal on it. It's non-backboard. Okay, again, it is a Hex receiver. I just got some extra rounds here on the back, 5 extra rounds in case I ever want to take this out for deer. Granted, I'd shoot them with soft points, but still. The stock is in immaculate condition. It's got no cracks on it. The barrel's in fantastic shape. The rifling is awesome. It had very little, if any, cosmoline on it at all. And I want to talk about that real quick before I get into this cleaning video. If you buy one of these as a surplus gun and say you're new to the Mosin world, sorry, the couches in the background are coming into focus. You might be buying one that's packed full of cosmoline. If you don't know what that is, it's basically almost like a grease, glue, packing material, preservative that's used on surplus rifles. And you really have to watch out because cosmoline can turn into a pain if you buy it, and a lot of people take them out and then they wonder why they start having problems with their guns. Well, when cosmoline heats up, it really starts to get sticky like a super thick, stinky molasses. And so it's important to properly take the gun apart and clean it. I'm not really going to get into the details of that here. All I can say is if you buy one of these and it's sticky at all, it's got kind of a sticky residue on it, and it's not your normal everyday gun grease, you need to definitely completely take the gun apart and then look up some YouTube videos on how to degrease a Mosin. I'm not going to go through it all right now. It's not hard to do. I did actually do that on mine, although I really didn't need to. It was very clean when I got it, when I picked it up at Cabela's. And so, yeah, it's not something that I'm really going to cover in this video. Also, the bolt disassembly, I'm going to show you how to use a proper military surplus, I don't know if you would call it a headspace gauge or a firing pin depth gauge. Because if you take the bolt apart and reassemble and do it incorrectly, you run the risk of blowing out primers. And you know, if you buy a gun from somebody else and they've used it and they've had no problems with it, you should be okay. You shouldn't have to worry about that as an issue. But I bought the gun. I didn't know who owned it before me. I had no idea how much it had been disassembled or reassembled and so on. So I did a full bolt disassembly. But again, I'm not going to do that in this video because it's a bit of a pain. I'm not very good at it, to be honest with you. I have to watch YouTube videos when I do it. And you have to be very careful when you reassemble it so that you don't cause any problems, okay? That you don't insert the firing pin so that it over protrudes and ends up blowing out your primer. So anyway, I'll show you that in a little bit and we'll go ahead and get started. So tools of the trade, what are we actually going to use to clean the Mosin today? Well, we got a little bit of CLP and some Rem oil over here. I was going to film this upstairs in the kitchen, which is where I usually do all my cleaning videos, but like an idiot, I decided to go ahead and start the dishwasher, so I didn't want you guys to have to deal with that noise. But anyway, from left to right, we've got some of the cleaning supplies that come with a surplus cleaning kit. If you buy these, make sure they're legit, make sure they're not a knockoff. They should have stampings on them and markings on them for the company that manufactured them. These are actually stamped with either Tula or Izzy. I'm not exactly 100% sure, but they got little stamps in them that you can tell. So I know these are legit. Not that there couldn't be fakes, but I mean, I bought mine from a reliable source. I got myself a 30 cal bore brush, a patch holder, basically. I'm going to use a regular brass cleaning rod for this. I'm not going to use a cleaning rod that comes with the gun, although there's nothing wrong with it. I like to be able to screw in these ends and really get a good clean on the bore. Bore light to check in when I get done, and we can maybe shine that down there and maybe focus in and let you look down the bore. And a soft brass bristle brush, which I'll use to clean the front of the bolt. Once we pull it out, some Q-tips. But these are very, very easy guns to disassemble and clean, so I think what we'll do is just go ahead and get started. All right, so first thing you want to do is just ensure that the firearm is unloaded. Now, I haven't fired this gun in 2 years. I don't generally keep live rounds in the guns that I keep in my gun vault. Okay, so you just pull back, confirm it, check it, no rounds on the gun, we're good to go, okay? So all you have to do, let's back up here a little bit, is go ahead and just pull the trigger, and you can pull the bolt right out. Just slides right out. Now the bolts in these things, they can be a little rough, and if you got a sticky bolt, that could mean that you got yourself a cosmoline issue going on there. So this one's in great shape. Very little tooling marks on it at all. I mean, it's been used, it's got a little bit of love, but it's an awesome shape. And like I said, I'm not going to disassemble and clean it because I've only put in fact, I haven't even put any rounds through it since I took it apart and cleaned it. So you can find some really good videos on that and so on. And we'll talk about the firing pin here in just a little bit. So, okay, so moving on. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to step number 2. What we're gonna do is just go ahead and take ourselves a little patch soaked with some CLP and just kind of run it through the bore over all the edges and so on. You don't really need any fancy grease or anything, real, expensive to clean this out. It's a piece of cake. So you just go ahead and get your patch in there and get it all cleaned out. You can also go ahead and just hit the little magazine release tab on the bottom here. It's kind of hard to do without seeing it. And drop that. And if there were any rounds in there, that would come out. You can actually take all this apart if you want to. I'm just going to go ahead and just take my fingers and just get up in that box a little bit and wipe it out. You can also use like a cleaning rod if you want to and get in there. Just wipe off all the surfaces. Again, I highly recommend a degreasing the first time you bring it home from the gun store, or if you get it in the mail and so on. Chances are you might end up having to do that anyway. Let's go ahead and back up so you can see what I'm actually doing. So again, just go ahead and run the patch through there. Kind of push it down a little bit into the magazine well. It'll start to come out of the bottom here. And then just kind of go ahead and just give a little scrub out, a little wipe out. And again, this one should be fairly immaculate because I've cleaned the heck out of it before it went back into the vault. But you're still going to get a little bit, maybe some leftover, a little bit of residue, maybe a little bit of grease that comes off. But it's pretty much spotless. So again, I'm prepping this one for a trip to the range. I want to do some little 100-yard accuracy testing with it. I do have some old clips that the rounds will actually go in. Again, they're not magazines, they're called clips. Okay, so we can go ahead and give that a little wipe down. All right, so that'll basically take care of that. So I think what we're going to do now is we'll go ahead and just move on to the bolt. Just go ahead and just wipe it out. You can look down the inside of it, and if you see any muck or any crud in there, just give her a little clean out. You don't really need any special brushes or anything like that. These guns were very low maintenance basically when they were designed. Although remember, if you shoot corrosive ammo through it, you do need to be careful and make sure that you clean it properly. All right. Okay, now what we want to do is go ahead and just take the bolt. Okay, if you've taken it out, it should just be in a straight line like this. And just go ahead and just gently pull in the back and just turn it sideways. Let's go the other way here. You want to go ahead and turn it so it looks like this when you get done. Okay. And basically you should have your firing pin protruding out of the front there if you did that the right way. Let's get that in focus for you here. Okay, now what you want to do is go ahead and take your tool if you have one, and this is how I've always done it. You just take it and just put it across the top so that you've got, let's get that in focus for you guys here. All right, you got a bunch of little holes here. You want to take the far left hole, the middle hole, and the right hole, and just essentially set it over so that the middle hole is sitting over the firing pin. Now, if your firing pin is pressing up on that gap, if it's pushing it up physically or touching it, then from what I've read and what I've seen, you need to, maneuver this, disassemble the bolt, basically adjust the firing pin so that it'll retract just a millimeter or two, okay, just enough to basically clear that because you don't want it to touch. If it's touching that gauge, that's basically at the point that you don't want to exceed. So if it's lifting up the tool, you've got the firing pin protruding way too much, and that could cause you to blow out primers. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of it than it is, but when you put these back together, you are basically in control of that. I don't know if you want to call it headspace or the amount of extension that the firing pin is going to have. Okay, so that's basically what you want to do to check the firing pin depth. Very important. I can't overemphasize that enough, especially if you just put it back together and you're not paying attention. Your firing pin comes out, quarter inch or I don't know, a half inch or whatever. You could really have some issues. Not that I don't think that could happen, but you could exceed the tolerances of what you're supposed to do when you actually reassemble the bolt. Okay, and now basically all you want to do is go ahead and make sure you got a little bit of CLP on a patch, and you can just go ahead and give the bolt just a little wipe off. I've used CLP on this thing for about the last 3 years since I bought it, and I think it's a great preservative, especially for these old guns. You know, you could maybe use a little bit thicker oil if you want to down this section of the bolt itself, but again, it's really not a big deal. You know, it's a piece of cake. They're great bolt action rifles to, you know, learn how to use effectively a bolt action rifle with iron sights. They're relatively inexpensive still. I mean, you know, on some of these, when you deal with shipping and your FFL fee, you're kind of getting to the point where you could buy yourself a conventional modern hunting rifle. So that's kind of where you want to watch out if you start to get Mosin fever, because it's easy to start clicking on the options. Yes, hand select. Yes, X sniper. Yes, hex. Yes, this. Yes, that. And then before you know it, you got yourself a $400 surplus rifle that back in the day, you know, was like maybe like 50 or 60 bucks 10 years ago at the gun shows, maybe 100 bucks at the gun shows. I do hit the back part here with a little bit of rem oil, a little bit of your moving parts. But again, I've taken this apart and disassembled it and reassembled it and had no issues. So this is a great rifle. I love this rifle. The numbers are matching on it, on everything all the way across, which is really cool. I do have the bayonet for it. I actually have that in just an accessory box because I don't ever attach it because I can't fit it in the gun vault if it's on there. So, all right, we're just going to go ahead and set the bolt off to the side for now. All right, so we got that all taken care of. So now I think what we're going to go ahead and do is move on to the actual cleaning of the barrel, which this is going to be a little tough to show. We're going to kind of go at a bit of an angle. I'm going to start off with some CLP down the barrel, let the barrel marinate for a few minutes, and then we're going to go ahead and just push through with the 30 cal bore brush, bristle brush, and we'll just go ahead and clean the bore out, run a few patches through it, wipe off the outside, and you're basically good to go. By the way, I use liquid gold on this finish. That's just like an aerosol wood cleaner, and we've been using it on our dining room table for quite a while. I use it on this. It has no issues. I don't ever use Pledge. I like liquid gold. It's like a natural oily wax, and it really does work like a preservative. I don't know if you call this shellac or just a laminate stock. I'm sure it's nothing really special, but it does work fine, and it hasn't dried out. It hasn't cracked any further or chipped or anything like that. So, okay, let's go ahead and move on to the cleaning of the barrel. Okay, so all we're going to do is just take a very lengthy cleaning rod, and we're just going to go ahead and go from the rear, okay, right through the barrel, and we're just going to go ahead and push right through. Okay, and again, I'm going to go ahead and retrieve the brush, and then I'll bring it back and take it through one more time. And again, you're more than welcome to use the rifle's built-in cleaning rod if you want to. I mean, that works perfectly fine. It's just a little hard to use modern attachments, I guess you could say, with it, because you can't exactly screw those on easy, so I just usually use one of my brass bore brushes that I assemble. I actually have 2 cleaning kits that I use, and it gives me enough bore brushes to put together because just the 3 normally don't clear the whole barrel because the barrel on this thing is very lengthy. So, all right, let's go ahead and run that through one more time. Again, just running a 30 caliber bore brush through it. It actually doesn't really put that much resistance up again. I probably could stand to get another bore brush while I'm at it, but this one's going to work okay for now. And I'm just going to go ahead and pull the brass rod back out the back. And then what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and attach the patch holder. Okay, there you go. Takes care of that. Okay, go ahead and attach your patch holder here. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a clean patch on here just to push through anything that cleaning rod may have broken up. I'm going to go ahead and double up on it. You pretty much can because you've got a fairly large bore. It's not like you're pushing through a 22 LR or anything like that for that matter. Okay, go ahead and double up on the bore brush here. Of course, with my luck, it'll probably get stuck, so there we go. Just going to go ahead and run that through. It's a little tight. We're going to go ahead and snip it just off the edges here. Again, you can use, single patches if you want to, or whatever works best for you. All right, again, don't need to rush when we do this, no big deal. All right, we'll go ahead and get that all set up. Okay, I had to trim it down just a little bit more and just go ahead and push from the back. And again, I'm not using my one-piece AR-15 cleaning rod, so this is a bit of a pain because you have a tendency to have the rod flex here. But you got to be careful because if you push too much pressure on it, you can end up snapping it. And if you don't have anything extra push through the barrel, you can really put yourself between a rock and a hard place. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, I had a bunch of muck come out of the barrel there on the end. Let me grab the patches and I'll show you what we're looking at. Even on a fairly clean gun, I still have a little bit of residue and muck that came off the patch. So it's not too bad, not too bad. Okay, I think we'll just go ahead and run one more patch through, and then as a preservative, I like to do a patch that just has some rem oil on it. And again, I've never had an issue with barrel rusting or, you know, any problems whatsoever just giving it a coat of rem oil. I just kind of stand by that stuff because, like I said, I've used it for over 20 years of firearms ownership, which I know is not a lot by some standards, but I didn't really get into firearms until after I got out of high school. Okay, so that takes care of the second pass. That basically is perfect. Okay, we'll just go and pull the brass brush all the way through here, the brass rod all the way through. Okay, and let's go ahead and do one more patch here with just some rem oil on it. Yeah, we'll just do a single patch. I'm just using your standard, I don't know, these are about 1.5 inches or so, a little over an inch long patches, so I'm not really using anything fancy here. All right, so let's go ahead and do that and just run it through real quick. Okay, there we go. Again, I'm looking forward to taking this one out. This one we're going to do just some 100-yard accuracy, and then the road is now open at the range that I belong to, so I can get back out there and really take this thing out there. I'm just going to set a camera up and see if I can even hit the gong. I think the gongs that they have are like 16 inches. Not exactly, you know, like minute of man size, but one of those things that definitely can help you see just how far your rifle can reach out and hit. And I'm not sure exactly what kind of a drop we're looking at. I'm going to have to look up the ballistics on my rounds that I run through this. I usually just shoot Tula, just Tula ammo. By the way, if I didn't tell you, this is a 1935 Tula. I did mention it's a hex receiver, which, you know, it's not the end of the world if you don't have a hex receiver. It's just, when I saw this one sitting in Cabela's, and I saw that sucker, I was like, yeah, this one's definitely going to go with me. Because even 3 years ago, they were still not, you know, not all over the place, you know. Okay, so last little pass there. There we go. We got that all done. And let's see. Let's go ahead and see if we can just get you a little hand shot with the camera. We'll go ahead and put a bore light down the barrel and come back here in a second and just see if we can check out the rifling on the barrel, because it is a beautiful barrel. Okay, so we're looking down the rifling. I know it's going to probably wash out because of the light. Yeah, it's probably going to go out of focus, isn't it? Shoot. Well, anyway, the rifling on this thing is just fantastic. It's nice. It's not what do you want to call, overboard or bored over, or, you know, it doesn't have the little dead spot at the end where it's been reground down again. But yeah, that's one easy way. You want to make sure you don't have any pitting in the barrel. You want to make sure that the barrel's nice and clean. You get a nice shiny bore, but you can actually see the rifling in it. That'll definitely help you pick out a good Mosin when it comes time. Okay, let's go ahead and do a quick reassembly and we'll finish up. Okay guys, so reassembly is a piece of cake. Make sure that your bolt looks like this before you try to put it back in. Okay, all you have to do is go ahead and just put it towards the rear of your receiver. Okay, go ahead and pull your trigger. You're going to have a little bit of spring resistance there, and just go ahead and slide your bolt right back in, and you can push it down. Okay, you can test your action to make sure that there's no issues. Back, forward. Kind of awkward doing it at this angle, but it's nice and smooth. That's just awesome. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not if you should dry fire. I really don't know. I don't on this particular rifle because it's so old. So what I do is I go ahead and put 2 fingers on the back here, okay? And I kind of pull back on the gun, or you can put your thumb and your index finger to really get a nice grip on it, and just pull the trigger, and it's gonna pull forward. But if you're very careful, you shouldn't have any problems, okay? Again, you gotta just release slowly. There you go, done. That's all you have to do. Again, it's got some tension to it, and you know the safeties on these things, the way they were designed, it was the safety lever, the way you pull back and over. It's almost like the thing was basically optional, like they were meant to be, you know, cocked and locked and ready to fire at Nazis, pretty much 24/7, which was the idea behind them. So, anyway, let's just do like a little close up here, just kind of take you on a quick little tour of the Mosin. There we go. I go down this way here. It's the bolt. Kind of see the markings on it. Very cool. I think it was PW Arms was the people that was the group that imported this particular rifle. I don't know a whole lot about it. It does have like some laser engravings on the top when I take off the handguard, like some actual printed markings on the barrel that are very modern. It might have been the Arsenal that refinished it, but yeah, very cool rifle. So again, if you don't have a Mosin Nagant, you should have at least one in your collection. Just, you know, from a historical standpoint, they're not rare. I mean, if anything, you can find them, but also if anything, the prices are really starting to go up on them. So again, let's maybe take a little view from this side over here. Kind of doing this at an awkward angle, so if it's out of focus, I apologize, guys. So anyway, yeah, there you go. Okay. I apologize for the mess. We got all the cleaning stuff out here. But yeah, so anyway, yeah, Mosin Nagant, okay? Pick one up, check them out. We'll be going to the range here not too long. We're going to do some 100-yard shooting and maybe do some 200, 300, 400 yards and just see if I can even hit anything. Honestly, I won't even know if I'm probably going to be hitting it. I'm not sure if I'll be able to hear it at that distance. So either I'll take a spotter with me or we will just let the camera roll and see if we actually connect with something. So there you go, guys. All right. I want to thank you guys for watching. Okay, this is Travis P11. I want you to thank you for checking out the channel. Please like, please subscribe. We're over 1,000 subs, and we're going to be having a drawing next week, next Wednesday. And I know it's going to kind of date this video, but if you're checking my list of videos, you'll see when we have that that drawing coming up, we're going to give away a great little prize to one lucky person. And there you go, guys. So as always, have fun, be safe. We're going to be bringing you some more range videos here very soon. And as always, we will talk to you soon. Okay, guys, take care. Have a great one. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.